Hello and welcome to another episode of the ReUp. My name is Jason Delgado. 2 weeks in a row? 2 weeks in a row? Yeah, it's happening. We're back on the groove, trying to get these ReUps going as a regular thing. It's nice to see everybody, talk to everybody, see how everyone is doing, even though I can't see you. Anyway, welcome back to the podcast, vlogcast, video whammy. This is the ReUp. Every week I kind of hopefully break down what's going on with me out here as a stand-up comedian in Los Angeles, getting from the day job into the dream job, hopefully showing the journey and the adventures therein. So welcome. Thank you for joining me. This week is pretty cool. I got a lot of stuff to talk about. Normally it's just a bunch of movies that I watched half of, but this week is a good one. I got some interesting stuff. The Olympics is on. I just got back from Arizona, the World Series of Comedy. And so it's kind of cool. We'll kind of just kick it off there. I was in Arizona last week performing in comedy competition. And it was fun. You know, it's weird because when you're doing competition comedy, there's always this sort of like, well, how do you judge it? You know, is there a score? Like, is it how many jokes people do or how often they're funny or sort of what the deal is? And so it's kind of like one of these things where you don't know, you know, is this, you know, how are we getting scored here? How are we being judged? And it was a fun experience. You know, I went down with my friend, fellow comedian Paul Green, very funny guy. He was competing on the Thursday. I was competing on the Wednesday. And so we just, you know, he was kind enough to let me stay. He has family there, and I stayed in an extra room. I got to, you know, work my day job while I was there, and that wasn't great. But hey, you know, we do what we got to do to make it. But it was fun. We had a nice road trip down to Arizona, and about 6 hours, maybe 5.5 hours. And, you know, just talked, listened to comedy, got inspiration. I discovered Gary Gulman. I'll correct it somewhere in this post here, but very, very funny comedian. You know, I never even really heard of him, just briefly. I've seen him on Twitter and such, but very, very funny. Such good writing, you know, such well-structured writing, mostly clean, just about pretty much nothing. You know, it's one of these kind of Seinfeldian things where, you know, it's just about obvious, observational, everyday thing, but so sharply written. And it was just great to kind of discover that and learn about a new comedian and kind of dig in. And, you know, it was really cool. It was really cool to kind of get a little bit of a breakdown on comedy before going out and performing. And so I traveled, you know, we traveled all day. Wednesday, we left Pasadena where he lives, left my car there at like 10 a.m., you know, drove, got to Arizona proper about 4:30 to the club. Beautiful club. Just Rick Bronson's House of Comedy. Very, very fun place. Beautiful club. And air conditioned, thank goodness, because man, Arizona heat dough. They do not play on the heat tip in Arizona for realsies. It was like 104, 107 the whole time we got in Arizona. And everything in Arizona looks like you're on Mars. It's like they can shoot all of Mars here. If we need to plan for Mars, we go to Arizona. But I heard Utah's even more like that. But yeah, it was really, really fun. You know, drove down, kind of a long trip. And, you know, after like, you know, 6.5 hours, we get to the club. It's 4:30. The show doesn't start proper till 7:30. And so I'm just sweating nasty. And I was like, I got to get a little bit of a schwitz, a little freshening up. So went, got a change of clothes, went into the club, used the bathroom, got changed, maybe schwitzed a little bit with the water. And then I just sat at the bar, you know, not drinking, just having water because I was preparing my mind and body for maximum competition. But, and I don't want to save money. You know, so I just, you know, sat at the bar, had some water, watched the Olympics for about 2.5, 3 hours. And just, you know, prepared as best as I can. I already kind of had my set of what I was going to say. I got 5 minutes. And you know, I just kind of sat and chilled. It was cool because, you know, came up with some fun bits about the Olympics. You know, I always think it's so funny how in the Olympics, you know, you could do a triple sow cow, 4 flips, grab the bar, flip the bar. And then as soon as you land, if your toe moves to the right, they're like, sorry. I saw your heel move to the right, so now you're useless. I'm like, dude, these judges, man, they're the most judge I've ever seen. Like, this guy just performed acrobatics of the highest caliber. And then, you saw his toe move at the end? Is it even worth being here? It's like, bro, easy, man. But hey, it's how you land, you know? It always reminds me of this great TED Talk I saw where this guy tells a story about he just opens up sort of with a joke. You know, I went to a bar in Ireland and, you know, it was right by the sea, and I sat at the bar, and there was an old man at the end of the bar. And he goes, you see this bar? I built it with my bare hands. I put the wood planks together, but did they call me McGregor the bar builder? No. And then he has a glass of beer, and he sits down and goes, you see these benches? I built them with my bare hands. I used the wood from the sea and put them together, but did they call me McGregor the bench builder? No. But you fuck one goat. And it's true, man. You fuck one goat, that's what they remember you for. So it's kind of like that, man. The Olympics is harsh, man, but life is harsh, so I guess it's a microcosm of it. But yeah, you know, this guy like moved his heel to the right and like, ooh, that's gonna cost him. All that other stuff he did beforehand is for nothing. I was like, oh my goodness. And it was nice because I was like, I'm about to be judged. Is this what judging is like? I can't do anything. And as it turns out, I had my little heel out moment. We'll discuss that, but excuse me. But yeah, I went and, sat there for hours, drinking water, kind of hanging out, trying not to sweat, sitting in as much AC as I possibly could. And then the show starts and, we kind of gather into the room and, the owner's there and he's like, you're being judged by everything. I've been judging you since the moment you walked in here. Oh, this is wonderful. I hope I don't smell. But I, went, sat, with all the other comedians. I knew a bunch of comedians from LA who were kind of out there doing the same thing. We're all out here grinding. And so it was cool. And so they went through the lineup. Everybody was doing their thing. It comes to me. I thought I did very good. I remembered all the words, doing my bits. And I have one particular bit where I kind of do a little bit of an act out with my hands, or my arms rather, like a flying motion. And beautiful stage, beautiful lighting, all these TVs behind me with my name written. And in the middle of the act out, I just smacked the TV with my elbow. And the thing was, and I was like, oh, it came back, nothing broke. But I was like, what? Heel out, bro. That triple sow counts for nothing now. And so finished my bit, got the laughs, get off stage. Did not place. It was top 3, and I did not get in. And so I saw who did get in, and I was like, oh, it's whatever. I'm not, God bless everybody who's doing their thing and progressing, and I ain't here to hate. But I was just like, man, I thought I had a really good set to not even place. I wonder, what the deal was, And so afterwards we go out, we have a little meal, and, I'm kind of trying to be cool or whatever. But in my mind, I'm like, man, I wonder, it's probably that TV. Probably, yeah, fuck one goat. But yeah, I wound up, just crashing super hard on the floor. The next day we had an air mattress, so it was beautiful, but I just crashed on the floor. It was amazing. I had to wake up the next day, do work. And so I was, taking phone calls all day in the heat. They had no coffee in the house, so I had to eventually get to a Starbucks just to keep myself alive. So eventually I get to the Starbucks, have some coffee, get myself together. And then the next night, my friend Paul was going to do his performance. And so I just kind of, emailed the guy, and I was like, hey, I'm going to come down to see Paul's performance. I hope it's cool if I could just get in without a ticket or whatever. And, if you have any notes as to what might have happened during the set, like what I was judged on, what worked, what didn't work, just to kind of let me know, where I stand as far as this stuff goes. And the guy was super generous. Jason, I don't remember that because it's a beautiful name. But great guy, runs the show, and he gave me a wonderful email with wonderful notes on my set. And it was so, because in my mind, here's what I'm thinking. I'm like, you got 5 minutes, tell as many jokes as you can in that 5 minutes, just so that they could see the variety of jokes, how many jokes you could do in a small amount of time, and if the jokes all work and get laughs. So this is my thinking going in, right? So I get this wonderful email that goes, hey, it was a great set. We like what you did. The thing is that you abandoned premises too quickly. And I was like, this is so funny. Essentially what they're saying is, you start off with a premise like, living in LA, is like this. And then you go through the, bits. Living with a married couple is like this. Being, joining a gym is like this. And they wanted to set up a premise and then do a series of jokes on that premise and then jump to a new premise. Whereas I was just like, here's one joke about the married couple I live with. Here's one joke about the gym. Here's one joke about my family. Here's one joke about But they wanted to have you dig into each of those topics more specifically. And that makes perfect sense, you know what I mean? Because they're like, the bit about it is we want to see the writing. We want to see how you're coming up with a premise and exploring that premise. And I just thought, oh man, that's wonderful. You know what I mean? Like, that's such a great note because it helps me write more so I can lengthen bits that I already have. But then also it gives me this idea of like, oh man, like, that's what they're looking for. You know what I mean? And then I got to watch the set and I was like, oh yeah, I just jumped from joke to joke to joke. Because in my mind, I'm like, tell all the jokes. But in truth, they wanted to see more like premise, series of jokes. Premise, series of jokes. Hugely instrumental for myself in my writing, but also for other competitions. You know what I mean? The next set of competitions, I might have a better shot if I set it up that way. And so instrumental. Huge thanks for that. And it was literally worth the whole trip just to get that note. My friend Paul also did not place. He also did great. And, we kind of just went home that night and we're just like, what are you going to do? We had a meal somewhere at somewhere in Phoenix where it's like the college town part of Phoenix and everything closed at 11. This is the most tame college town I've ever seen. It's like, yeah, it's 11 o'clock. We're about to wrap up. I'm like, 11? What's going on? But we got to get some food and then got back to the place. I had the air mattress filled, slept, had to work the next day again. And then that day, right after work, we had to start driving to get back because we had a show. Both of us had shows on that Friday in Los Angeles. So we wrap up a half day of work, pack the stuff, drive 6 hours back to Los Angeles. I get back here about 2 hours before my show, come home, change, head to Pasadena for a show. Comedy, baby, on the road. Get to Pasadena. Yeah, I'm exhausted, but, just trying to get a good feel on. They say who wants to go first. I was like, me. I'll take the bullet. I'm the Secret Service. Yeah, I'll take that bullet. And so, I'm doing my set. I get to the pinnacle of one of my peak jokes, and all of a sudden music comes on. And I was like, am I going long? So I look over at the woman running the show, and I was like, are you playing me off? And she's like, no, my phone just went off. I'm just very sorry. I didn't realize my phone went off. And so I try to play it off like I was like, oh, yeah, it's probably for me. I ordered a pizza, blah, blah, blah. But I was bitter. I was like, dude, I just drove 6 hours for the show, and you gotta cut me off. I'm not going to lie. I was bitter. And so I played it off. I was cool. But then when I got off stage, I was like, I am out of here. And I immediately beelined for the door, said bye to all the fellow comedians, and just rolled out. The woman running the show was kind enough to text me and say, I'm very, very sorry. And I totally understand. Mistakes happen. It was one of those things. But after driving 6 hours from Arizona to do a show, and then at the peak of one of my jokes, it's like, brr, 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 brr. I was like, yeah, exactly. But we do what we do. This is comedy. You got to stay up. Always stay up. And I came home that night and slept the sleep of 1,000 men. Oh my goodness. It was such a beautiful sleep. Your own bed, let me tell you. I think heaven is you getting up to the clouds and it's just your bed and your perfect pillows. Because I slept like the dead. It was beautiful. Had a wonderful sleep. Got to enjoy myself, a nice restful evening. And then the next day was Saturday. So I got to just kind of, mull it over, contemplate what was going on, sort of, just sort of soak it all in, soak in the trip. And it was a lot of fun. I learned so much. Like I said, it was one of those things where like performing was, just performing, but, learning, discovering new comedians, learning kind of what people are looking for as far as premises to jokes are concerned, learning what these contests are looking for, experiencing a new club, experiencing out of state, what they laugh at, and it worked, But so enriching, so incredible. I mean, it was great. If you're a stand-up comic or anything like that, get out of the place you're in. If you're in New York, try in LA. If you're in LA, go somewhere else. I want to go to Texas now because I want to try it there. But just try and vary it because it's such an interesting experience when you just get out of your comfort zone and have to travel. And then the traveling and then just exhausted. And then it's like, be funny. And you go, hey, everybody. And just the kind of like having to sort of grasp that energy from the ground, I thought was an excellent experience. And I learned a lot, and it was great. And so then that weekend I kind of just chilled and relaxed, watched the Olympics. It's funny because of the Olympics, I was talking about like the foot moving, but there was this one gymnast who was, flipping through the bars, and then all of a sudden she tried to flip and grab the bar and went BOW and just landed so hard on the ground, like chest face first, got back on the bars. Starts doing the flip again, does the flip, misses the bar again, and smacks on the ground and gets back up and does it again. And I was like, yep, that is the metaphor for comedy I've ever seen. Fall on your face, get up and grab that bar again, baby. We're going for gold either way. And so it was nice to kind of, rest, relax, watch some Olympics, and also get a little bit of that metaphor, because these people are the ultimate, trained their whole lives for this thing. Every day, do what they do, and they still have this, you face plant. And then you have to get up and keep going. And I thought that was, just an amazing microcosm to see. Because, it happens to everybody, you fall on your face, you get up, you keep going. That's how it works. And that's how champions are made, even though she probably lost. But that's how champions almost, But it was good. It was nice to kind of see that, it happens to the best who practice every day and do everything. You still fall on your face sometimes, and you got to just get back up and use the will and the strength within you to grow and learn. And that's what it's one of the things that's really the hardest part is the internal, the mental, balancing your mindset with, the outside world. I'm here just trying to make people laugh and be funny, but it's like, I got worries, I got bills, I got fears, I got doubts, I got all these things. And it's like to keep your mindset in a place where you go about your thing with faith and confidence and belief in yourself as if it's all going to work out. That's a skill. That's its own skill. I do a lot of journaling just because I think it's important to sort of like, be grateful, write these things down that you're grateful for, the things that you want to do, the things that you're going to take action on, just to kind of keep your mind in a place where it doesn't wander off into this, like, what are you doing all this for? Why are you still doing this? You have to kind of keep that balance, and I think it's important to the mental is everything. The mental is everything. And so, just trying to find inspiration in just sort of the things I'm grateful for, the things I'm learning, despite not winning or finding the glory or in getting cut off on the peak of my joke, you still find that thing within you of why you're actually doing it, because it shouldn't be outcome related. You want to reach an eventual goal, but it's like not winning doesn't discount the entire experience. You know what I mean? You have to garner something from it. And you do. Every experience you can garner some huge information from, win, lose, or draw. And I was reminded of that. You know what I mean? I was reminded, especially like not getting a lot of sleep, traveling a lot, going through all these things, not winning, getting cut off on the mic, and then you go like, why are you still doing this? But some internal tick in me is still just like, I just like to be funny. I read this thing, Jovic, I think his name is, the top tennis player. He's like, I just like to hit the ball. At the end of the day, I just like to hit the ball. Like, I enjoy tennis as a sport. I enjoy the competition. I enjoy the rivalries and the pressure. But I just like hitting the ball. And that's kind of the root of and then I just go from there. That's kind of the thing. I like writing jokes. I like telling jokes. I like seeing people laugh. And I think that having that as a root is important, because then you're not like, oh, I don't have enough gram followers, or I don't have enough accolades, or I don't have enough this or that, or I'm not good enough for this or that. If you like to hit the ball, you'll be fine. And so I feel like that's an important thing for me to kind of be reminded of. But, it's just, I'm fortunate enough in that sense that I just enjoy, hitting the jokes. I enjoy writing the jokes, coming up with the bits, and expressing them and seeing how they work. That's a pleasurable experience for me. And I think to have that as the base is good to kind of grow up from. And so it was great. It was great to kind of learn, experience, go through these things. And then also, just be reminded of why we're doing it. You know what I mean? Just try to be funny, try to be better, keep your eye on the ball, and just keep going regardless of things going this, that, and the third. And I think that's with everything. If you want to be a singer, a painter, a real estate mogul, it's like everybody's got challenges. Everybody's got these things that they're trying to do, and these things get in the way, you know what I mean? You got everything planned, and all of a sudden this thing, you hit your TV with an elbow or whatever. Even though they said I didn't lose points for it, I still think the owner was like, that guy's done. But I do like that there is something about just going through some experience of hardship that makes you question, am I doing this for the right reasons? And then if you hit it to the point where you feel like you are doing it for the right reasons, it sort of springboards you back up to a higher height. And that's kind of what happened with me, where I kind of like, and then I was like, yeah, but you like telling jokes. I just felt better about myself. And and it was fun. End of the day, it was just a really, really fun experience. And I would love to go back to Phoenix. I would love to go to Texas. I'd love to go to as many places as I can and try and do comedy, just because I feel like now that I've experienced it out of state, I like the idea that it's, it's new. I'm not going to the same clubs doing the same things. It's like a whole fresh experience. You don't know what they're going to think. So highly recommend getting comfortable with the uncomfortable. That's what all the books say. But it's true. You know what I mean? I think it's putting yourself in a challenging position is kind of half the battle to get better, but it's also the only real way to get better. You got to get out of your comfort zone. And it was great. That was a good experience, and it was a fun week. And, this week I just, doing a bunch of shows, and, I had a show last night, a show night before that. I got a show tomorrow night. Friday night, if you guys are in the Los Angeles area, Pacifico Cantina, check out the ads on my gram, Jason Delgado Comedy. Got an awesome, awesome show on Saturday night. Some of the best comedians in LA. Baja's Grill, 3250 Wilshire. I'm hosting the show. I'm doing my new material. It's going to be an awesome show. Doors open at 6. Show starts at 6:30. It's adult hours. Show will be over in 85 minutes. You'll be out by 8 o'clock to either live the rest of your Saturday night dream or sleep deep and watch Netflix like all Saturday night adults. I don't know, man. It's tough for me to do these 10, 11 o'clock nights anymore. So, like, if somebody goes like, oh, yeah, come to my show. It starts at 10. I'm like, can I help you paint your house instead? But, those shows are tough, For the young people that like to go out, we start at midnight. But for my friends, for adults, for people who I kind of know, it's good to have these sort of good early hour shows where you get to just enjoy, get some comedy, but then, you can go to dinner and go home or do whatever and not feel like, you're trekking home at midnight. So 3250 Wilshire, Baja's Grill, 6 o'clock doors, 6:30 show. Some of the best comedians in LA. Seriously, it's going to be a banger of a show. No cover, $5 margaritas. Highly recommend if you're in the area. Come out, have some laughs, say hello, say you heard it on the podcast, vlogcast, whammy. And yeah, experience the experience of comedy. But yeah, I hope to see you guys at shows if you do watch these. And then, next week I got my first roast battle. I'm very excited about that. I'll be able to talk about that on the next podcast, vlogcast, ReUp. Paul Green and me are doing roast battle for battle. I've only roasted one person for their birthday, and it was a great experience, but it was like I didn't get anything. It wasn't like a battle. It was just like it was their birthday and they wanted us to roast them. But this time it's going to be like I tell a bit about him and he does a bit about me. I think a lot of my comedy is not like being mean or being sort of like, pokey at things. So I had to kind of learn, like, is this too mean or is this just right? Or what is the roast formula? Again, getting out of your comfort zone, experience the experience. And so that's what I've been doing, kind of learning, what it is about the roast and how to make the perfect roast. And so I'll be doing that next week and I'll discuss that with everybody. Yeah, and then I got a couple shows, and then in 2 weeks I'm headed out to Lancaster to do a show, so that's very exciting. I want to try to get to San Diego and do some shows too, but there's only so much time. I'm just trying to do as much as I can with the time I have, and yeah, just do as many shows as I possibly can, and learn and grow as we should. But yeah, I'm gonna call it there. This was a very, very fun podcast. I had something to talk about finally. But I always have something to talk about. But it's like, I don't know, last week it was just kind of a little bit, it was kind of a heavy week. And so, it's nice to kind of like have a little bit that heaviness put off and kind of getting back in the role, just doing stand-up, trying to make the dream come true and do the damn thing. So thank you for joining me on this episode of the ReUp. Please follow me on the gram, Jason Delgado Comedy. Always fun, interesting stuff. Plus, you get to see when my shows are. If you're in the area, please come out Friday or Saturday night to one of my shows. It'd be great to see you. And thank you so much for making it this far. My name is Jason Delgado. This has been the ReUp, and we will see you on the next one.